Why do we love dark space settings? Perhaps it's the confrontation with the unknown that is so alluring, pushing the boundaries of our reality to its limits, venturing to the dark horizon, and challenging what lies beyond. Warhammer, StarCraft, Helldivers. These games tap into a setting with infinite potential for horror and heroics, equal parts reflecting on our future potential and making creative use of the twisted ends they could lead us to. These universes are captivating to us because they ooze atmosphere with their world building, and the far reaches of space are quite the canvas to paint on. What better place for a good old-fashioned shooter war? This is our setting, surrounded by hundreds of other players battling it out across an alien planet for dominance. The frantic fun of games like Battlefield and PlanetSide 2 are born from this chaos. These warfare shooters check the boxes of setting and scope, but they tend to lack the nuance and identity of smaller arena or hero shooters. At the end of the day, you are just a single soldier that can get lost in the tides of battle. The rise of pure hero shooters like Overwatch and Marvel Rivals have shown the importance of focused class identity and specialized playstyles. Players feel an ownership of their careers in these hero shooters because they develop a kinship with the characters, and yet hero shooters suffer from the opposite shortfall of large-scale shooters. Their dedication to characters often leaves the setting and maps to generic, balanced design. Instead of epic battles, we get 6v6 skirmishes. Having a balance of hero shooter and large-scale battlefield shooter requires taking the best from both worlds. Games like Star Wars Battlefront 2 have played with the formula of putting hero characters into large-scale shooters with mixed success. Instead of having a separation between soldiers and heroes, let your players take the roles of class-based troops with niche abilities. Give all your players access to characters with unique roles without being overpowered. Open your maps up to allow for the spectacle of aerial dogfights, tank clashes, and hundreds of tracer rounds whizzing through the air, but also have enclosed areas that emphasize smaller team play tactics and skill-based close-quarters combat. So, we have our epic-scale hero shooter genre and our dark space war setting. How do we turn this conflict into a unique experience for players? One answer is to lean into the idea of asymmetric gameplay. Asymmetrical design is the core of games like StarCraft and Natural Selection 2. Embracing the difference between your allies and enemies to its extreme sets a tone of tactical choice, and it permeates every aspect of a game's design. When done well, it's gaming magic. Layers of counters and decision-making that give the player creative choice in how they attempt to foil a very different-looking adversary. Wildly divergent factions also fit into the game's setting. Stumbling upon other sentient creatures in the cosmos fighting to be top of the food chain is quintessential to the genre. Our human faction is typically represented as the expanding colonizer in dark space fantasy. An ambition for wealth, resources, and power, the perceived freedom and abundance of those values grant us is a potential dark mirror for our future selves. Manifest destiny must be fought for in our twisted endgame, and we have come prepared for war with our technological terrors. Power-armored space marines, dual-cannon battle tanks, and missile-laden jet fighters attempt to assert dominance on the battlefield. But who do our fictional selves find waiting to challenge our dominance in the distant reaches of the space frontier? Time and time again, popular culture returns to the hyper-evolved predatory alien, humanity's long-held primal fear of an animal that doesn't need science and reason to win a physical fight. This faction is filled with lurking hunter-killers that pounce from the shadows of a dark ventilation shaft, huge rampaging monsters that can trample their prey, and swarming alien horrors that strike from above. The third faction, trying to keep the other two in check, also needs to be formidable in a way that confounds and confuses the motives of ambition and instinct. Relying on strange technology would give them an almost magical feeling as they slice through their enemies with energy blades, disintegrate foes with giant crawler beams, and blast opposing air defenses with sleek gliders. These three factions battle for control of a map that can comfortably hold hundreds of players at once. Multiple battles can break out on several fronts as the ebb and flow of the fight spans across mountains and valleys. To control a section of the map requires capturing a strategic point of interest. These can include power plants, abandoned mines, weapons factories, and ancient temples. Each of these facilities has their own set of objectives to be completed by an attacking team in order to capture the facility, Winning might mean destroying a shield generator in the sub-basement of a base, hacking or infesting the mainframe of a control center, or recovering a mysterious alien artifact. Fights within these sprawling facilities of arching viaducts and claustrophobic corridors can give the feeling of playing a traditional hero or arena shooter with smaller skill-based fights and ambushes that allow players moments of heroic swings and saves. Once these buildings are captured, they are locked for the winning team for a period of time. Each capturable point is spread out from the others in order to allow ground and air vehicles to be used for effective travel and support fire for an army en route to the next facility. Opposing factions can attempt to confront these convoys of vehicles to prevent invaders from approaching and capturing another objective. This opens up the possibilities for coordinated assault sieges, ambush counterattacks, aerial dogfights, and bombing runs in the open map areas as effective tactics. The goal of this overall design should be to facilitate both intuitive role-based gameplay for each faction's character classes, while allowing room for deep skill-based achievements at the capture objectives. The player and faction leadership should be rewarded for efficient kill streaks or tactical support plays. Diverse playstyles should be embraced. You have your standard hit-scan damage machines found in any shooter, infiltrator and shock flanker classes that rely on solo or small group missions of sabotage and subterfuge, support classes that heal others and build up infrastructure for tactical advantages, specialist and counter classes that are meant to shore up overall faction weaknesses in specific situations and settings. Each character class and vehicle has a perfect spot for a wide range of player skill levels or battlefield needs. To help facilitate organized gameplay, perhaps a social currency system to promote battlefield commanders giving advice and orders on a large scale is in order. Natural Selection 2 goes a step further by mixing real-time strategy elements into the shooter genre, dedicating a player to act as the unique commander for the team in a powerful overhead view of the battlefield. This commander role coordinates attacks from a meta perspective that can't be achieved from the fog of war on the ground. For the average player, every aspect of design should be put into promoting teamwork through both passive and active abilities. Dropship pilots would gain passive bonuses for the amount and types of classes they are carrying to an objective. Marines could man side-mounted guns, medics would give the dropship a healing aura, and snipers grant the vehicle a short-duration cloaking field. The animalistic faction would give speed and attack bonuses for swarming together. Letting smaller aliens ride on larger monsters would grant both classes an armor bonus, and giving biohazard aliens the ability to splash their attacks on allies would enhance their friends' damage potential. The mystical abilities of a third alien faction could manifest itself with temporary shared health pools, the ability to revive allies, and enhance senses by allowing fellow faction members to see spotted enemies through walls. Games like Marvel Rivals show how interesting the options become when embracing team-ups between different characters. Proximity-based benefits in a large-scale battle would encourage players to group up into squads with other players to achieve objectives and make new friends in the process. Forming communities of guilds to work together like a finely tuned cooperative group in Helldivers would be a frightening sight on the battlefield. Decisive open map battles could hinge on strategy and tactics from a commander making a key decision on a large-scale fight. Players looking for more individual balanced competitive fights could shine in the capture facilities, where different floors or areas of the complex are reserved for a capped number of players from each faction and restricted to a range of player ranks. This compromise could account for faction population imbalances and eliminate the potential that one faction gets overwhelmed by numbers rather than skill in these pivotal moments. Enable your players to climb ladders of progression by gaining leadership ranks, competitive skill benchmarks, and class proficiencies. Players should feel rewarded for their playtime through achievement systems that grant cosmetic rewards and access to higher-ranking facility battles. Customization could play a major role in giving a player or group a personalized identity in-game. Put effort into making a visual loadout workshop for everything from armor and weapon visual accents, allow texture, color, and material swaps, earnable logos and decals that would allow each player to look and feel exactly how they want without breaking the visual language and signature of the game's setting. Customization allows for both player engagement and business design. Let the average player take pride in the opportunity to make minor visual adjustments for a fair price, and the whales the chance to create a truly special visual profile that make other players turn their heads. We have a competitive multiplayer shooter set in a gritty space future at the game's core. Players choose to represent one of 3 diverse factions with a wide selection of classes featuring hero shooter playstyles and roles. Feel powerful as a hulking space marine gunning down waves of swarming aliens. Drop from the ceiling to ambush a group of soldiers as a terrifying monster. Bravely charge into the fight as a light-bladed alien warrior. Huge maps can hold hundreds of players battling in deserts, snowscapes, and swamps. Navigate and fight for map control with thundering battle tanks, burrowing behemoth worms, and alien constructs. Defend or invade special capturable facilities featuring intense close-quarters combat. Experience the best of battlefield environments and hero shooter mechanics. Thanks to every one of you watching, and I hope to one day see you in the game.